Yes. And so if Caitlin Clark is the vehicle that will bring this sport that I have loved so much and so long to little 5-year-old girls playing in Harlem.
People said Caitlin Clark was all hype, but then the film breakdown happened and the conversation completely changed. Keep watching because it'll blow your mind off.
Criticism or talk?
Yeah, I think it's honestly like pretty similar to my college career too. I think there's, no matter what stage you're on, if you're at the highest stage, there's always going to be people that are critiquing you. There's always going to be people that are complimenting.
What finally shut people up was not a viral highlight or a single deep three from the parking lot. It was the breakdown.
3, 2, 1, go.
Nice.
A decades-long basketball lifer, someone who grew up in gyms where mistakes got punished and fundamentals were sacred, looked at Clark's game and saw something that most fans completely miss. Not flash, but a repeatable system happening in fractions of a second that most defenders cannot even process in real time. At the heart of it is timing, and timing is the most ruthless judge in basketball. Clark's shooting motion does not begin when the ball leaves her hands. It starts earlier, before the defender even knows they are late. Her lower body initiates a rhythm that is slightly off from what defenders are trained to read, creating a hesitation without ever slowing her momentum. It looks smooth enough to seem effortless, which is exactly why defenders misjudge it. They think they have time. They never do.
And I think that just speaks to like how I was raised too. Like, you know, I've never been one to like weigh the opinions of the haters too much, or, you know, I was told like, you know, at the level you feel all the praise,
This is where the conversation gets uncomfortable for people who want to reduce her success to confidence or green light coaching. Confidence does not explain why her body arrives at the shooting position before the defense finishes reacting. Coaching does not explain why her release point stays consistent whether she is drifting, pulling up, or shooting off a relocation. Those are habits built over years, not slogans written on whiteboards. One of the quiet shocks buried in recent film sessions is how early Clark prepares the shot. The ball is already rising into position while most shooters are still gathering their feet. That tiny head start changes everything. Defenders close space based on cues they have seen their entire careers, but Clark removes those cues. By the time the defender reads shot, the ball is already gone. It is not speed in the traditional sense. It is efficiency, and efficiency is far more dangerous.
be the same level you feel all the hate. So like I feel like I just try to stay right in the middle, and everybody's entitled to their own opinions, but I think the biggest thing for myself is like just having confidence in who I am and what I've been able to do with my career. And
another detail that keeps coming up among serious analysts is her foot alignment. Casual viewers see balance, coaches see intention. Her stance subtly opens her body in a way that keeps her shooting shoulder aligned without forcing it, which means less correction midair and fewer variables in the release. This is why she can shoot comfortably from distances that would completely destabilize most players. The further you go out, the more your mechanics get exposed. Hers hold up because they are built for stress. This is also where the comparisons start making people uncomfortable, not because anyone is claiming she is better than legends, but because the categories start overlapping. The same mechanical concepts that defined elite perimeter scorers in the men's game are present here, adapted, refined, and executed at a shockingly young age. That is not marketing hype, that is geometry and physics doing their job. What really flips the conversation, though, is how defenses respond. Teams are not guarding her like a typical rookie. They are picking her up earlier, sending help sooner, and warping entire schemes around her presence alone. That does not happen because of hype. Coaches do not burn game plans on Twitter narratives. They do it because the math forces them to. When one player's mechanics allow her to threaten the basket from distances that stretch coverage beyond comfort, the entire floor changes shape.
I'm confident in my abilities, and that's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, I feel like in college football we do this. We build people up for 4 years, and then the draft comes, and all we talk about is what they can't do, right?
For sure.
So kind of a similar feeling, but
there is also an underrated mental component tied directly to her mechanics. Because her motion is compact and repeatable, she does not need perfect conditions to shoot confidently. That matters late in games, on tired legs, under hostile crowds, and against physical pressure. Many shooters rely on elevation or perfect balance to feel comfortable. Clark relies on rhythm. Rhythm travels better than legs do. Recent conversations around her development have also reopened old debates about skill versus dominance. Power players impose themselves physically, skill players impose decisions. Clark falls into the second category, and that is often harder for people to accept because it exposes defenders rather than overpowering them. When someone beats you with size, it feels inevitable. When someone beats you with timing and angles, it feels personal. Another piece of tea quietly circulating among trainers is how difficult it is to replicate her shooting pattern in workouts. Players can copy the steps, but they struggle to connect them fluidly. That fluidity is the separator. Anyone can practice a move in isolation. Very few can blend it into live action without hesitation. Clark does it instinctively, which is why her shot selection looks fearless when it is actually calculated. This is also why the just guard her closer argument collapses under scrutiny. Closing space faster does not help if the shooter needs less time to get the ball out. Jumping higher does not help if the release comes earlier in the motion. Physicality does not help if the mechanics stay intact through contact. All adjustment defenses solves one problem and creates another. The deeper analysts have also pointed out something else that has made its way into private conversations among coaches: Clark's mechanics scale. Many players dominate at one level because the environment suits them. Clark's game travels. Longer defenders, faster rotations, tighter windows. None of it fundamentally breaks what she does. It forces her to adjust reads, not rebuild her shot. This is where the haters start going quiet, because the usual escape routes disappear. You cannot say it is just college anymore. You cannot say it is just volume anymore. You cannot say it is just confidence when the mechanics hold up under pressure and scrutiny. At some point, the conversation has to shift from why it should not work to why it does. There is also a growing acknowledgement that her presence is forcing a skill conversation that the league has avoided for years. What does elite shooting actually look like when stripped of reputation and resume? When you isolate mechanics, timing, and decision making, some uncomfortable hierarchies start shifting. That does not sit well with everyone, especially in a league where status has long been protected by tradition. The irony is that Clark herself has not fed the noise. She lets the tape talk. Every possession becomes a quiet rebuttal. Every clean release under pressure becomes another data point. Every defender forced into a late contest becomes part of the evidence. What truly seals it is consistency. Great shooters have nights. Elite shooters have patterns. Clark's misses often tell the same story as her makes. They come from the same motion, the same pocket, the same rhythm. That is how you know the process is sound. Random success produces random misses. Structured success produces predictable variance. Even the comparison debates, which usually spiral into emotion, are starting to cool under technical scrutiny. You can respect dominant interior players, elite defenders, and versatile scorers while still acknowledging that Clark's particular combination of range, mechanics, and processing speed is rare. Not better in every way, just rare in the ways that stretch the game. Another layer that has surfaced recently is how her mechanics influence teammates. Spacing improves when defenders panic. Passing lanes open when help commits too early. Secondary scorers benefit from attention they did not earn but gladly accept. This is the invisible impact that does not show up in basic box scores but shows up in film rooms. The silence from critics is not surrender. It is recalibration. It is the sound of people realizing they argued the wrong angle. You can dislike hype. You can question narratives. You cannot argue with physics repeating itself possession after possession. And perhaps the most shocking part is how early she is in this process. Most players refine this level of efficiency after years of professional reps. Clark arrived with it already wired in, which suggests that what we are seeing now may not even be the final form. As defenses adapt, she will counter not by reinventing herself, but by leaning deeper into what already works. So when the breakdowns circulate and the veteran voices speak, the reaction is not outrage anymore. It is resignation. The kind that comes when the argument is over and the evidence is stacked too high to ignore. Feel free to share your views in the comments below.